Hey, Brandon here. Welcome to the channel and thanks for tuning in. And welcome to week 9 edition of the College Football Devy Stock Report. We do this show each and every week on this channel, giving all the Dynasty players out there a little vision of what's in the future, right? We're going to be talking about 2027 players, 2028 players. My podcast co-host, Jason D. Rienzo, that's what we do. We scout future Dynasty players that we're hoping to land on our Dynasty rosters in the future. So today, week 9, we're going to discuss 4 players that are ascending in college football right now and 4 players that maybe had some buzz early on that could potentially be a future draft selection that might be falling off the radar a little bit. So again, like if you like this kind of content, hit that subscribe button. Check out the website below. I got 2026, 2027, and 2028 rookie ranks, all 22 film cut-ups, helping you scout future Dynasty players for yourself. All right, let's have some fun. Let's talk about these players. So let's get into our Devy stock report of the week, Jason. And I'm going to talk. I mean, I just put out my wide receivers update out on the YouTube channel, and so I got some updates. And I just started my running backs, right? So I'm going to be doing a running back show in the next week or two. And a guy that kind of moved up my board a little bit, I want to talk about is Isaac Brown, 5'9", 190 pounds. And I know this guy is undersized, but he is really electric with the ball in his hands. On the season, he has 652 yards, 4 touchdowns, 8.7 average, 11 receptions as well on, in the air. But, ever since Devon Achane, I think that's how you say his name now, not Achane like we used to probably call it during the scouting season, is kind of the blueprint for somebody like that. I think another person very similar to in size is James Cook. Do you know the size of James Cook off the top?
No, but I think he is like in the 190 range, and those are the 2 comps I have for Isaac Brown. That's really fascinating.
Yeah. So, again, there seems to be this little bit of trend in the NFL that they're giving these younger guys, Bucky Irving, another player that comes to mind down in Tampa as well. And I mean, he's not he's a 2027 prospect, so he's not going to be in the mix for this year in the draft cycle. But for 2027, man, I'll tell you that just the running backs are. I'm sitting here trying to re-rank stuff in my Devy ranks and the big board ranks, and it's difficult. It's just it's very flat right now. And Isaac Brown, with this trend of younger or smaller backs, he's explosive and he seems physical and tough enough. Which all 3 of those backs that we talked about have good low center of gravity, big lower halves for their size. So, I mean, Isaac Brown kind of moved up my board a little bit. I'm not expecting him to be, a starter in the NFL, but as a stock report, he's playing really well. And he had over 200 yards this past week, and he's a baller with the ball in his hands.
Yeah, he's a threat to take it to the house every time he has the ball, and that is a lot of who you just talked about with Bucky Irving, James Cook, Devon Achane, like same type of profiles. So if he's got that electric ability, that does go a very long way at the next level. I'm going to talk about a true freshman receiver out of Ole Miss, and that is going to be Winston Watkins, who weekly seems to be on the radar for me as I watch that Ole Miss offense. And, they have Caden Lee and Caleb Oden and Harrison Wallace or Trey Wallace, a bunch of different guys that kind of stood out to me every now and then. But Winston Watkins is very consistent. This past weekend, when I was watching him down the perimeter, had a really nice catch. You see the speed when he's in the slot. I love the manipulation at the top of his route for an in or out breaking route. So I think this kid is highly developed already, which really goes a long way. And you can kind of see that in his gameplay. So Winston Watkins listed at 5'11", 185, already 218 yards on the season, averaging almost 17 yards per reception. I like what I'm seeing so far in this offense as an early contributor.
I got him here at 6'2", 185.
Oh, interesting.
So that's what he has anyway. But yeah, against Oklahoma this past week,
I guess he's
4
got
catches for 111 yards. So
yeah,
I love the call. I love introducing new names and freshmen. So he's a 2027 prospect, 2027
2028.
2028
2029.
No,
yeah,
2028. Yeah. Okay.
He's a true freshman. So
true freshman. Right. So
yep.
My next player I want to talk about is Jordan Davison, just killing it at Oregon, right? We knew that he running back 352 yards. I think he had 2 touchdowns this past weekend, 10 touchdowns on the season, 6.9 average. Again, another true freshman, 7 receptions in the air as well. Now, De'Aaron Hill is somebody that we've talked about on the podcast as well, and they seem to have a 1-2 punch. But Jordan seems to be getting the majorities of the carries. He is the bigger back out of those two in freshmen. And Whittington, I think, is also getting some play as well. But Jordan
Mhm.
Davison has to be he just looks like a physical grinder, one cut up the
Yes.
field, big guy in between the tackles who's going to, just punish linebackers and safeties in the middle of the field. But so far, so good. I mean, as a true freshman, he's breaking out. So he has to be a riser in the Debbie and in the Debbie circles.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I mean, we were talking about De'Aaron Hill, and then all of a sudden Davison comes in and he looks great. I mean, for his
Mhm.
size, what he's listed at, you and I were concerned that maybe it's just not gonna translate. Just, he's overly big, but he's explosive, man. You see that
Mhm.
first step, like, he's got good speed to him, he's physical. Yeah, there's a lot to like. I think that's a very good call. I'm gonna go with Emmett Johnson, the Nebraska running back that I talked about either last week or the week before as one of my risers, and he just looks like he's kind of the full package deal right now. I don't think he's got anything like special that stands out, but overly just a solid running back. It kind of reminds me of what Devin Neal did when he was at Kansas. There was nothing really that stood out as far as a trait, but just consistently, producing solid, good runner, good navigation, good vision, pass catching upside. I see that with Emmett Johnson. This past weekend, he had 123 yards, 2 touchdowns against Northwestern, and just keeps contributing each and every week. So far, 837 and 9 touchdowns as a runner, averaging almost 6 yards a carry. That cannot go overlooked.
Yeah, I watched him about 2 weeks ago and really liked what I saw as far
Mhm.
his ability of navigating the trenches, lateral agility.
Yeah, he's got good vision.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he hey, as a breakout player, I love the call. So there's our four stock up players that are rising, probably up our boards. Let's talk about some guys that have been disappointing this year. And I want to talk about I think it's Quintravian Wisner from Texas, 6 foot, 194 pounds, averaging 3.8 yards on the season. Big expectations. CJ Baxter got hurt again this year, and he just hasn't been that difference maker. It seems like the whole Texas Longhorns team is um, you know, out of sync right now. But there's a lot
Yeah,
of
they
buzz
are.
on
Yep.
this guy potentially being an NFL draft prospect in the 2026 draft, and I believe, will be definitely going back to school. Whether he transfers or not out of Texas, I am not sure. But he's got 263 yards, on the ground. Like I said, averaging 3.8 yards carried. Is not getting many balls out of the backfield either. So it's just a stock down. He has the opportunity to do really good things, especially with the backfield at Texas. With somebody, somebody needs to emerge to really maybe take the pressure off Arch Manning, and he just hasn't really, I think, shown up this year. So he is my stock down player of the week.
Yeah, and I totally get that. That Texas team is just really hard to figure out right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with, Baylor running back Bryson Washington. Now it's not like he's having a bad year. He had a really good 3 series, streak versus SMU, Samford, and I believe it was Arizona State, where he had over 100 rushing yards. Just the past couple weeks has not really come on. I know he had been dealing with injury, but for me, this is maybe just a personal thing with my evaluation. He just runs a bit too upright. I don't really see him as a pure runner at the next level. And I just have some concerns about that. I think he's got phenomenal pass catching upside, and that could be his calling card at the next level. His size isn't bad. He's over 215 pounds. I think he's listed at 6 foot. I personally just don't see it, and I just have my concerns about him. So he's moving down my ranks.
Yeah, somebody I was higher on early coming into the season. I thought his tape looked pretty good from last year. I thought he had some burst. He showed that physicality. Just had not had eyes on him. I think he's been in and out of the lineup with getting dinged up a little bit. But
Yeah, he
somebody
has.
that I'm not totally out on, but certainly understand your stock down for him. I want to talk about another running back, and that is Ole Miss running back Keywan Lacey. There was some buzz about him coming in, he transferred from Mizzou to Ole Miss. And, the last 2 games he's averaged against Georgia and Oklahoma, 2.6, 2.9 yards a carry. He has 2 touchdowns. Um, in those games, which is nice. I mean, he's got 12 touchdowns, but I watch him and I just don't see I don't know, just there's nothing about his game that gets me excited. I feel like he doesn't have the
Mhm.
great contact balance, seems to go down pretty easily. So he is my second stock down player for the week.
He's a tall runner for me too. He's just got a weird build to him. I know exactly what you're saying as far as him translating possibly to the NFL and the concern there. I'm going to go with a guy that many people are probably going to be shaking their heads, but if you really think about it and you watch this past weekend, I mean, the stats and the scoreboard are going to say, "Whoa, what are you talking about?" But I'm going to go with Ryan Wingo. I mean, he for what I expected from him, I think he's got a great combination of size and speed. The skill set is absolutely there, but he had a really bad drop in this past game. I just don't think he's as reliable, and maybe that's why it's been so spotty for him that this year. I can't really blame Arch because there's been Parker Livingston and a couple other guys that are just kind of rising up. Emmett Mosley's starting to come on. I know Wingo had a really solid game, but when you look at the totality of his route running separation ability, what he brings to the table, it's kind of frustrating watching the film. And I think at this point, it wouldn't surprise me if we see a little bit more of maybe even Khalil Lockett in place of him. But Wingo for me, just I'm a little bit disappointed in the film and what I've seen, so he's on the move down my ranks a bit.
He had like 200 yards this week. Did you watch the game? Did
Like,
you watch?
yeah, he had like 184. A lot of that was his yards after the catchability on like screens,
Mhm.
used in
That was,
different
how he
situations like
won.
that. How he won, right, and
Yeah, yeah.
him as a actual, like, a separating route running receiver, I have my concerns about from what I've seen so far.
Yeah, well, how you win is important, right? So,
Exactly, yeah,
stats
yeah.
can lie. Stats can lie. So, you got to make sure you watch the tape. So there you guys got it. That is our Devi stock report for what are we on week 9 now? What
Week 9 going into week 10. It's crazy.
mhm, that's a scary thought. All right, guys, I hope you
I know.
enjoyed that stock report.